Good evening. Still grooving away. 5 episodes in, haven't lost it. I don't think we ever will. But good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Sith And Scoundrel Podcast. I'm Phil, of course, joined as usual by Matt. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm all right. Nothing Jello Rocks doesn't make better.
It can't fix the heat, but it can put a smile on your face.
It's just so good. Yeah, I'm good, dude. I'm good. I'm all right. I've finished Andor, thankfully.
Yeah, I know it's not been. Yeah, it's been interesting. So I'm looking forward to obviously talking to you about the last couple episodes, and then of course also our first retrospective, which will be Book of Boba Fett, which we'll talk about obviously much later. But yeah, for those who missed, of course, last week's show, we were looking back on the Prison Break,
which I didn't realize was 4 episodes until I sat down to watch like what I had remaining, and I was like, "Oh, I've got 2 episodes left." So I went a little bit ahead, but yeah, doesn't look as bad.
Well, this for me. So in Andor, you get 3 of the best Star Wars speeches in my mind. You have obviously Luthen's seeing a dawn that he'll never see speech. You have the One Way Out speech by Andy Serkis, and then obviously in the finale, you then get Marva's speech, which was actually going to be Star Wars' first F-bomb. She was supposed to say "fuck the Empire."
Oh, that would have been good. I was watching it and I was like, this 100% needs more Rage Against the Machine.
Yep.
Like, I almost wanted to mute the TV and start playing guerrilla radio through my phone. I did, briefly, and it just fit. Yeah, that was cool. I did like that. I didn't know it was going to be the first F-bomb. That would have been great. If Guardians 3 can pull off the first F-bomb in the MCU,
yep,
it's about time Star Wars did it, I think, because they can get away with it, and that would have fit. It wouldn't have just been an F-bomb for the sake of being an F-bomb.
Yeah. To be fair, though, I think you do have the Star Wars version of F-bomb is Criff. But you're not, for those who don't know, you're not going to know why it says not going to be a bit jarring, whereas fuck fits perfectly. But that speech is fantastic. And of course, these last couple of episodes obviously focused on Andor coming back after the prison break to get Marva out. You have Bix, who's being tortured relentlessly by the ISB. And you have everything on Aldhani, including the wonderful irritation that is Cyril coming back in even more creepy and annoying fashion.
Yeah. He was pointless.
He was.
I was really hoping that he would culminate to something, and he didn't. And what a completely unnecessary addition to everything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. When I was having these conversations when the show was going out, I was talking with Dave and George. I said the same case of he is just someone who is very, very creepy, doesn't need to be there, and doesn't add anything to the story. You can completely take him out and nothing changes. You could replace him saving Dedra Mijo with just a stormtrooper, and it would make
that
just the
didn't
same
happen, because him being creepy isn't the problem inherently. Have you seen the old Tom Hanks film Roast Edition?
I have not.
Okay, so Jude Law in it plays like an assassin for the mob, and he's really creepy. Like, he's like a really unhinged kind of creepy like photographer character, and that he kills people and takes photos of the bodies kind of thing. Genuinely incredible piece of film if you ever get a chance to watch it. It's an old film now. Tom Hanks and Jude Law is very, very good. But his creepiness, his character serves a purpose.
Yeah.
He achieves something at the end, which is well within his character arc and is well within his trajectory.
Yeah.
So Cyril being creepy wasn't a problem for me. I'm fine with the character being like creepy and a bit unhinged.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. But what I don't like is that he served no purpose. There was no reason for him to be in that series at all. It's like we discussed last week about maybe if they started with the prison break, which I think would have been the stronger move, because honestly, I think out of the 12 episodes, 4 of them were good, and those are the 4 prison ones. Final 2, didn't really care for. Again, I felt it peaked at the prison break, and then went back downhill again. And I was just really hoping that Cyril would amount to something, and he didn't. And I was like, what a waste of a character arc. Like, however many minutes he was there with his mum, who's equally just an awful character. And not like, oh, he's such an awful character, as in like being a villain or particularly heinous.
No, it's just awfully written.
Just badly written, pointless, overbearing mother to a badly written, pointless, wannabe spaceman. A stalker. No, it is. You're right, stalker. And the best thing about Cyril and his arc was like the chief inspector right at the beginning.
Yes.
Best thing about his arc. Because I just,
yeah.
Not good. Not good at all.
Yeah, I didn't care for him. It was more the fact, especially in this day and age, having a stalker is kind of, it's not a good look. And it's, yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, though? It's just, it's unnecessary. It is entirely unnecessary.
Good luck.
Yeah.
In for summer.
Yeah.
That's when I'm being a stalker. No, it's not. There's footage of this guy who gives up his job and everything and flies across America to meet like Logan Paul or one of those YouTube types. And he's like, I gave up my job and I flew across the country to ask you for a job. It's Logan Paul or Jake Paul, it's one of them. And he just kind of went, why did you do that? And this guy's like, oh, because that's what you told me to do in your video. You were like, go and take these opportunities. And he was just like, yeah, but what can you offer me? And the guy's like, what do you want to get out of this? What can you offer me? And it felt like that. It felt like he was trying to get a job with the ISB, but not on like a traditional route.
No.
You know, and if he'd gone to work in the admin facility and maybe worked his way up, I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, you got to where you wanted to go. And he's as cold as the other ISB agents are. That's probably fine. But he didn't even do that. No, just a waste of footage. I think just waste of footage. He didn't add anything to the overall story arc. There was no decent culmination of his character.
No. If they had left it with him being that sole survivor of Aldani, that would have been fine. That would have been absolutely fine. Someone who was not happy with how, you know, his boss was handling the situation, knew he wanted to track him down, went and found him. It went wrong. He could have left that, whether he died or whether he lived, and went off and worked the app, and I don't care what he did afterwards. That would have been fine, because they would have at least given the ISB then that kind of next step of, hang on a second, if this little security bureau here is having issues, maybe we need to look into this, and then they could find, of course, the flight recorder, and then, then goes onwards. It didn't need to be anything more than that, and it's something that I've had these chats before, people saying, I was hoping that Cyril would kind of end up to be the big bad. So, I said from the beginning, but I don't think he will be. He doesn't amount to that. He shouldn't be. And by the end of it, I didn't care for him. On the Dedra Miraja, on the other hand, I think she's been fantastic throughout. She's currently the actual top of my head, but she's done a fantastic job portraying her, and especially when it comes to the Bix torture scenes. It is so well done and so creepy in a different way. Not stalker creepy, but actual brutal creepy. With I want you to leave this guy in here, in this room, so when she comes in, she sees what she's in for. And as soon as the door opens, like, what are you doing? Get this man out of here. It's such mind-gamey, and I love it.
But I like her. She's cold and ruthless and efficient. And so, general thoughts. I mean, I like her arc. I like her a lot. I like her as an actress a lot. I thought her arc was great.
Yeah.
I didn't like her losing her cool at the end when everything went wrong. I felt that was very out of character for her for what we'd seen for 11 episodes.
That's fair.
So for her to suddenly panic in that situation and run away, I get it. Everyone kicked off. Everyone started pushing like the Space Riot police over.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing of people who have power don't like it taken away, and when they no longer have that power, they panic. And I get where it's coming from, but I do agree with you that it's kind of a little out of character.
We've seen 11 episodes of her being very commanding, of holding her own against, like, those guys who are like, watch your back. She feels a lot like the antithesis to Krennic, whereas Krennic is a victim of his own ambition in the end.
Yep.
She's not a victim of her own ambition. She's going out and getting it and succeeding.
Yeah.
So during, I don't want to say the siege, but the riot scene, when she freaks out and runs away and Cyril takes her to one side and she's having a panic attack, I get that. I got word this right. I get that everything she'd built had fallen apart, and it was an echo of Cyril in the first arc where he went cornered Cassian, and then Cassian escapes to Luthen with all the explosions, and his world topples. Her last episode was an echo of that. Everything she'd built and everything she'd been working towards. Difference is she'd been working towards it for like 11 episodes by this point.
Yeah.
When that falls apart, and she's got Death Troopers with her and Stormtroopers with her, and there's probably TIE fighters in circulation. She's got some real heavy guns behind her. I didn't like that this very well written, very commanding presence had a meltdown. Like, I get shell shock, I get PTSD and all these kind of things, and I get the panic element, but I feel like her character's stronger than that, and to show her being ruthless and cold in that scene would not have been out of art for her.
No.
And if she maintained just taking control of that situation and started barking orders, I would have been like, no, this is great. Because like your special investigations department are unflappable and it will be awesome. Yeah. And so I didn't like how her arc tailed off.
Yep.
With her and Cyril in the storeroom. I just was like, no.
No, I agree with that. But I do think for me, she's along with Mon Mothma and Luthen. Mirdro is for me those three characters are my favorite from Andor in the fact that they were the best written, they had the best arcs, and they all had a proper actual point to it, which is then. I was thinking about this earlier. I think because I love Andor from start to finish. I think it's fantastically written. I think there's a lot of good points. There are some bad points, and I've talked about those. I'm always honest with how I feel about certain bits and pieces. But the problem with Andor, now you've seen it from start to finish, I think you're probably going to agree with me. And it's almost the same as Boba Fett, in the fact that you could take out Andor, you could put in a random rebel, and nothing changes.
Yeah, dude, I have to disagree. Like you said, you like it start to finish. I feel like Andor was 6 episodes of exposition, 4 episodes of character forming, and then 2 episodes trying to very roughly tidy it all up and tie it together. Like, there's things that happened in those last 2 episodes that I was like, the sister arc is literally pointless through that season. The amount that he will go 2 episodes without mentioning his sister, then he will suddenly mention it for like no reason at all, really, and then doesn't mention her again for 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, like, okay, maybe if all along Bix was his sister, not an ex-girlfriend, I could have been like, I like this. Like, your sister was under your nose all along, you didn't whatever. So there was a pointless arc of his sister. And like when it all kind of culminated at the end, and the ISB worked out what Andor did with the heist and the prison break and stuff, and they were still like, let's go get this guy who killed 2 guards. I was like, he's done bigger things since then. Like, the killing of the guards felt pointless, because the reason those guards died was he went to that space strip club to go get information on where his sister was, and they followed him. But the information on the sister culminated to nothing. And the death of the guards are what really he's pinned on. As I said, it's not even, I said this last week, it's not even what he was arrested for. So that just felt really pointless. So the ISB lady, phenomenally well written character, incredibly entertaining, and incredibly enthralling to watch. Like, it was very hard to take my eyes off the screen whenever she was on it, because I was like, what a great character.
Yeah.
And she rode this wave of being great for 11 episodes, and then suddenly, at the end, I felt she went very out of character. So I wasn't too much a big fan of that. And Andor's the worst thing about Andor. I liked him in episode 12 when he had people to bounce off of. Like, you know, he's great in Rogue One because he's got K2 there and he's got Jyn there and he's got a group of people to interact with.
Yeah.
When they were trying to get Bix to the ship and escape the riots, and I was like, you're likable. You're doing something. You've got friends. You're bouncing off a thing. This is great.
Yeah, he's not a strong individual character, but he is strong as part of a good group.
He's a supporting character. This is I think inherently the problem with Andor is that it's a TV show about a supporting character. And then I don't know. It just the sister thing leading to nothing like really annoyed me because there's so much put on that. There's so much. The whole thing happened because he was looking for his sister. So to have no payoff about that, I was like, okay, great. So that again, that led to nothing. The Luthen being like, we have to kill Andor before the ISB get him. I was like, oh, I get it. I don't like it. It's the Lando thing, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I get it. I don't like it, but it's the way it is. I was just like, you almost built this bond with this guy, and you put him in these really bad situations.
Yeah.
And now you're just like, oh no, we have to kill him before the ISB do. And I was like, oh, so you just turned on him. I was like, great. There's no real interest in like recruiting him to any cause. You're not being like a recruiter for the rebellion. So again, I really enjoyed Luthen up to that point. And then his whole, what he's setting out to achieve through 11 episodes just suddenly goes by the wayside. So I really feel like it was 6 episodes of exposition, which I didn't really enjoy. I felt like that was, and a lot of it was unnecessary in the first 6 episodes. A lot of it was really unnecessary in the first 6 episodes. The only constant is Mon Mothma. Everything she did, even that when she's framing her husband for gambling.
Oh, that's beautifully done, though.
And he's like, "Who told you this?" And she's like, "I know. You know who told you this." And it's very well acted, very well written.
Oh, that scene's marvelously done. I love it, especially then the payoff is also you then had the driver literally in the ISB reporting on it. It's so well done because she knows that she has screwed up so badly and she has to find a way out, and she has that by framing her husband, who and then is mirrored by what's happening with her own daughter with the arranged marriage. She's basically it's all falling around apart around her. And if you want to make the comparison to Dedra in this instance, Mon Mothma's world is literally falling apart around her, and yet even though she hates what she's having to do, she is very convicted and she's sticking to a plan that she knows will eventually succeed. She's watching her only daughter, who, despite the facts come from a marriage that is arranged, she still loves her daughter, but she's watching it happen and letting it happen because she knows it's best for the rebellion, not necessarily her. And she's given everything. She's done it so well compared to Dedra by the time you get to that end point, who, as I said, I love her from start to finish, but yeah, she does, in the face of adversity, she panics, rather than being that stoic character that you have come to expect. Mon Mothma, for me, along with as Luther and Dedra, is my 3 favorite points from the show, and I do think that you take Andor out, the show's still exactly the same. You just put someone else in place. That's not to say that I don't like Diego Luna. I think he's a very good actor. And I think he's in other stuff he is good, but in this it doesn't translate as well. Whereas there's so many good beats. The overall arc, there are some flaws. The prison break, especially though, is fantastic from start to finish. And you do, by the time you get to the end of the prison break, especially, you do feel more connected. At least I did to Andor. He's a little bit more human. He's a little bit more okay. There are people around me, not just people I can rip off. There's actual human beings. And by the time he gets home, it's too late for Marva. He sends Bix off, and Bix, of course, you've then watched, as I said, be absolutely tortured brutally. And what I love in that scene is you don't hear what she's hearing. It's silence. Silence in film and TV is powerful when used correctly, and all you have is her scream, and it is chilling.
I will absolutely say that there's one scene where Andor's in the tunnels, that I both really loved and really didn't like, and there's like a duality on the writing for this part. So there's the bit where they're talking about Andor being the spark that ignites the flame. And I was like, man, this would be cool if it wasn't already said in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Then Poe's like, you can be the spark that lights the flame that topples the First Order. And it was basically the same conversation. I was like, oh, okay, that's not so great. Andor has given me probably my favorite lines in Star Wars now, which was when his mate, the one I like, not Tim, the one who covers for him, is like, you were with me getting drunk and you didn't like the alcohol I was serving, so you swung for me.
That's him. I can't remember the name.
I can't remember his name. Not Tim. He's really good. He's really good. And and it's that message which is just like, tell him he knows what he knows, and he understands, or he feels what he feels, and when those two come together, he'll be an unstoppable force for good. Tell him I love him more than any wrong he could do.
Yeah.
And I was like, my God, that's poetry. I was like, that's such a well-written statement. Like, to tell him I love him more than any wrong he could do. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then it's like followed by, you could be the spark that ignites the flame. And I was like, no. So yeah, I absolutely love that message. Is it Marv?
It's Marva.
Marva. I keep wanting to say Maeve, but that's because of the boys.
Yeah.
So I love that message that got transported across.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars is falling into a bit of an issue right now with the rebellion, is that there's now many things that spark the rebellion. I was really hoping for, like, we were just talking about Spider-Verse, I was really hoping for almost like one canon moment that would spark everything going off.
Yeah.
And you kind of had it in Rogue One.
Yeah.
And then you've also had it in Andor. And then you also have it in Rebels. And then you also, and I'm like, oh, okay, so there's lots of
the way is, there's lots of small pieces leading up to the big one, which is the Battle of Yavin. That is why it's ABY and BBY. Battle of Yavin is the proper, here you go, the rebellion has arrived, the Empire can be beaten, which is why Rogue One, especially when I'm talking about, they had, and Rebels actually, there's bits later on, and you will come across it. I won't spoil too much because I know you're watching it. I don't want to spoil the impact of what's to come. But there is a wonderful set piece that happens. And when they were going back and talking about it, they were saying, we had to be careful because obviously they can't win. They're not supposed to, because the Death Star is the first proper victory for the rebellion. The Death Star plans lead to that first victory. It's a win, and it's the first win, but it's not the big win. That is the Death Star.
A big win on a galactic scale. No, I am appreciating a lot of what I've seen in Rebels and Clone Wars. A lot of what Bail Organa's doing. Oh,
Bail is such a cornerstone and so underrated in my
opinion. And in Kenobi as well, actually. And in Kenobi. A lot of what he's doing there. I wish he'd turned up in Andor. Sorry, excuse me. I wish he'd turned up in Andor and we got a conversation with him and Mon Mothma.
Now, you see, I would have liked if it was a cameo talking to Mon Mothma. I think it would have been fine as that. Anymore, it would have distracted from Mon Mothma's part.
Not a recurring character.
You needed to build up Mon Mothma's part in all this as you're building up to the rebellion.
Instead of talking to a friend Ty, what if she was talking to Bail Organa?
That would have been cool.
Bail, I need you to do this charitable fund, or I need you to do something with Alderaan that's going to explain 400,000 credits. I can't tell you what it is. Because they're senators, it's already, I think, kind of assumed knowledge they would know each other.
Yes. And they are part of the partisan set of the senators who try and fight for what little right they can for the general public. It's not... so Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and a few of the more of the independent systems do fight for those rights, but those voices are getting more and more quashed. As you see, the Senate is basically empty. When you see Mon Mothma in the Senate, it's because, well, most of the planets have given up because they know that there is no point. It's a sham, and it's just a complete, this is face. All this is a pretend democracy at best. And at worst, it is just well, the picture of what abject failure looks like to the Galactic Republic that has been before.
Yeah. So I think, with them knowing each other, I just think Bail turning up instead of Ty and her asking him for help. And then he could have had R2 and 3PO with him, and it would have continued the trend of them appearing in every Star Wars project.
Yep.
It didn't feel very Star Wars without them. I feel like...
I would say they're not in Boba Fett. Oh, no, wait, 3PO is, because he's in the Mando episode. I forget that's part of that show. We're going to talk about that later, though.
We'll talk about that later. And isn't R2 in it when Din goes to see Luke?
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's in that Mando episode of Boba Fett. Yeah.
So R2 does turn up. So I feel like maybe that, just to tie it together a bit more, because Bail's becoming a really recurring character now.
Yes, he is, But,
which is great. I think he's great.
I think we'll see him in season 2, though.
Well, this is what I'm going to be intrigued for now with season 2. I don't like the way season 1 ended with Cassian just pulling a gun on Luther and like sneaking up on him. And then, so like the thing I wanted was delivered. He was making Death Star parts.
I was looking forward to talking about that part with you because we were talking last week. Obviously, I'd get my mouth shut because, that's what he was making. He was making the trigger of the gun that killed him. Yeah,
which I thought was very cool. And just annoying it was like mid-credit scene.
It didn't need to be that, but at the same time, it's like it fits because, well, where else are you going to put it?
Yeah, exactly that. But fine. I'm okay with him basically building his own demise. I think that's fantastic. I still think what we said last week, and if you're listening to this now, go back to last week and listen to it. But reordering it the way we spoke about last week, I think would still, now seeing all of it, improve things dramatically. And also, the kid with the manifesto amounted to nothing too.
Not exactly. You have Cassian listening to the manifesto in the last episode, and that's part of why he does what he does. It's finally clicked with him. So it didn't amount to nothing, it just could have amounted to more.
Did love that he went back to the beach planet, and there were no short troopers in sight.
Nope.
The beach was not dangerous that day. It was safe for human. That was fine.
I must admit, after we had that conversation last week, I was talking with our mutual friend Jamie about this the other day. Again, who absolutely cracked up because as soon as you realise they are just lifeguards, it was just, it's hysterical because we were just entirely right.
Exactly. Oh, Cassian's blaster is rad, like the big chunky thing.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah,
I thought that was very cool. I like that. Yeah. I don't feel like there are enough aliens in it. And I know that sounds
I do agree on that. No, it's not ridiculous because I agree because Star Wars needs that balance. I mean, people, when the show was originally airing, they were complaining there weren't enough stormtroopers in the first few episodes. But I guess the end is because the Imperial presence is built up, you do get them. But there are not enough aliens. There are few and far between. There's some, but the world it needs to feel populated by more than just humans.
The two that web them, which I thought were really fun with the quad jumper.
You mean the West Country aliens? Yes.
I thought they were really good. I like these two. They're fun.
I love them. It's hot fun to Star Wars. It's great.
It was. That was great. And it was nice seeing a quad jumper as well.
Yeah.
You don't see them very often, so that was cool.
No.
I just feel like for such a diverse galaxy, it needed more aliens in it. Like there should have been aliens in the prison with them. There should have been more aliens in the Mon Mothma Senate stuff because when they invite everyone over for dinner, as far as I can recall, it's all humans.
I believe so.
And you're telling me that everyone that lives on Ferrix is human? Yeah. That I was a bit like, it didn't feel very Star Warsy.
No,
because there weren't a lot of aliens.
No, and I think that's from Tony Gilroy directing it. He doesn't have that same vision compared to when you have Favreau and Filoni, who will deep dive quite a lot of this stuff.
So impressed with everything they do. No, but I genuinely, I feel like there should be more aliens. The part where aliens turned up, I felt like I was watching Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then you just go back to having no aliens again. So I found that a bit dull, just seeing humans everywhere. I did find one of the things I really enjoyed, I was trying to think about positives, is seeing a droid's reaction to his owner dying. because I've never thought about it before.
No.
And having B just being like, can I stay one more night?
Yeah.
Just to make sure. And him being like really sad about things and what he did in the funeral procession and things. I was like, actually, I've never thought about this, and I quite enjoy it.
It's very similar to probably a dog is the most comparison to real life. Dogs who, when their owners pass, they know, they sense, they see, they feel, and you can see it in their. I've seen animals who have lost their owners who then lose their own will to live. Almost, it's that kind of the bond is gone.
That was nice to see because you didn't really see it happen, like with 3PO and R2 after Anakin died, and they didn't really show any remorse. And I was like, they're robots, it makes sense. So seeing that happen, I thought was a very interesting take. And I like that B got his R2 moment. Well, R2 in Return of the Jedi with Luke Saber. I felt B did that with the holographic message.
Yes.
I was like, this is the R2 moment. This is his R2 moment. It's really heroic until he gets pushed over, and I just found that really funny.
But I love the crappy trying to cover him with a coat and then gets pushed over as well. It's just like,
I was like, my God, I just want to the rebellion side because B got pushed over.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very cool. But all in all, I've not hugely enjoyed Andor. I found it quite dull.
One of the questions I want to ask you about it, purely as I know you, that's my dear long friend, musical-wise, from the actual soundtrack for this show, what did you think of it? Because compared to some of the stuff we've had from Mando, from Boba Fett and other things, it's a completely different take, and it should be. Each project should be its own flavor. I like some of the pieces. I love in the second episode, the ending with the big-ass drums. That was really cool. But I felt a lot of it was kind of lackluster throughout.
I feel like it wasn't dramatic enough for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I feel like it was very subtle, and I get, like, in the theme of the show, it's meant to be about espionage, I guess. Is it meant to be about espionage?
Kind of, yeah.
Because Cassian's character is meant to be about espionage in Rogue One, right? But I don't feel like there was a lot of espionage in Andor. It was more like theft. Small jobs. It didn't feel very, that's maybe why. I was hoping it to be a bit more like a spy series because Cassian
we'll get with season 2. I think more ways that it part of the rebellion, he'll then have that.
Yeah, I was hoping for more covert, like rebellion, covert ops. Anyway, so I get why it was a bit more kind of subdued for a score-wise. You're right, the bit with the big drums was great because it was dramatic. And I think John Williams is known as a sonic trademark for those big swells.
Yeah.
So it's those big and those quick, like
Of course, he wrote the theme for Obi-Wan and for Solo as well. Like, he has done an awful lot.
And even you look out about like Raiders of the Lost Ark and Indiana Jones and stuff. So.
And Harry Potter as well, again, for the original theme for that. And there's so many pieces. Yeah, that's all John Williams, yeah.
So
he also wrote the theme for Sunday Night Football for American football, which I think is brilliant. Because he genuinely did. And if you listen, I'll send it to you later, and you'll see what I mean. Though when you listen to it, it's such a John Williams thing.
So this is it.
It's like proper orchestra. Yeah, I'll send it to you
because that almost sounds like March to the Resistance, which did appear. It did appear in Andor. No, I'm thinking Mando season 3. Sorry,
you're thinking Mando season 3 where it appears. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? One of my favorite bits in the sequel trilogy is Poe leading the squadron across the water to March of the Resistance.
Oh God, yes. I think that one's Shazara for X-Wings, not the full-on March of Resistance. That's just purely that section of it. But
it's got the motif in it.
Yeah, because it's literally just taken that one section and expands on it. Whereas March of the Resistance is the bigger, larger picture. This is they've taken that one section and made it purely about, and it is theatre. And when you have him in the sky shooting down TIE fighters, fit on the ground, and go, that's one hell of a pilot. It's like, yeah, it's Poe, because Poe is just the trigger-happy flyboy.
So they take the motif from Master Resistance, repurpose it. Anyway, that's a great thing. So I feel like there's a big Sonic trademark, and even when you look at like Mandalorian, And you've got, yes, there's that sort of, but then it leads into that. So that gets big and it's dramatic, right? It's this big dramatic thing, and Boba Fett being that. So it's got that very Star Wars sound. I feel like Andor kind of lacks a lot of that.
Yeah, and that's my problem. And the thing I don't like is they change the theme every single episode. So there's not even like it's subtle what they do to it, but at the same time, there's no consistency. It's kind of, and one of the big pieces of Star Wars for me is the music.
Yeah, and I feel like the riot scene would have been perfect to bring in like a big Joel Williams piece.
Yeah, or the Rogue One theme, because the Rogue One theme is awesome.
Yeah, they could have really pulled that through. So. Yeah, I like the Saw Gerrera stuff as well. It's worth adding. I like everything.
Yeah, and the fact that they also got Forrest Whitaker back for it though is fantastic.
When he's like, "I'm ready to go and fight. Let's go," and Luke's like, "No." I want to know how he needs his oxygen mask because there can't be that far between that point and Rogue One.
Well, so after season 1, there's 4 years between it and Rogue One. So season 2 is 4 years condensed down into 1 season. So that's what we're getting for season 2. And
so something real debilitating happens to Saw in this time gap.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite Star Wars alien design. I was really happy to see him. Saw Gerrera's like bodyguard mate with his face. Yeah,
that's 2 tubes.
My favorite Star Wars alien design, hands down, because he looks like something out of 40K.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of it's almost Deathcore of Krieg style, or the Traitor Krieg, that kind of ilk. I love it. Yeah,
I like him a lot.
Tubes are fantastic.
So it was cool to see him. I really like him. So I don't know. I know people rave about Andor. I think it's 6 episodes of exposition, 4 episodes worth watching, and then 2 episodes of just suddenly changing everyone's idealisms and character arcs. Unfortunately, but I'm kind of relieved I have to go back and watch it
again. That's fair enough. And
to be honest,
this is one of the reasons why I love doing this show is the fact that you and I can sit here and talk about our different opinions on the same subject, and there's similarities and there's differences, bits we like and bits we don't like. And when it comes down to it, it leads me very neatly into what next, which is what we've got coming up in the future. So this was our look back at Andor. So Matt hadn't seen Andor. It was a good point for us to jump in to start the Sith and Scoundrel. But the Sith and Scoundrel comes from 2 of our main loves in Star Wars. And Scoundrel, of course, being Matt, Boba Fett. Now, the Book of Boba Fett we've talked about in bits and pieces here and there throughout the show. And it is one of the most controversial pieces of Star Wars to come out since the Disney takeover. And for me to have all these hits and to have one blunder, that's not bad going. And I don't care what people say about Kathleen Kennedy. She has done a fantastic job in a lot of areas. The Book of Boba Fett is something that we're going to look back on next in our first retrospective. Of course, we've got
Wayne's World.
I mean, party on.
But edit it in post.
Yeah, so we got Ahsoka going up in August. Matt's working his way through Rebels currently, so
I need Tess and Gawain to carry on. Hurry up, man.
Because I want you to get to the next couple episodes because I want to talk to you about the finale of season 2.
So the Tess and Gawain, right? Very good friends of mine. Husband and wife combo, they kick ass. You'd love Gawain as a Dark Angels player, like an adamant Dark Angels player as well. And Tess is with pure chaos energy like me. It's fantastic. So she's watched Mandalorian for the first time, and it's been really refreshing. Well, not refreshing, but it's been really cool. I've been getting like voice notes, WhatsApps. Gawain's already seen it, so she's experiencing it for the first time, and she loves it, man. And she watched Book of Boba Fett, and I was like, I'm sorry, you have to watch it. You do have to watch it. But she's just finished season 3 of Mando today, and I got like just a selfie of her crying at like Paz Vizsla. And then a voice note where she's still crying. And even because I made her watch Rebels, I was like, watch Rebels, it's great. When Zeb turned up, I didn't get this, so I'm a little bit jealous. But when Zeb turned up, she sat a picture of the screen to me.
Oh, mate.
I was like, I didn't get that reaction.
Whereas I did. I was sat there, Guards of Aurelius! Like, I'd literally hit me on the show. I'd freak. Like, it's cool.
I love that they don't make a big fanfare out of him being there. They don't really draw attention to it. It's just he's just chilling out. So she's got really invested in Mandalorian. Her reactions to Mandalorian just reminding me how much I love it. And just reinforcing my ideals that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have saved Star Wars, especially after seeing Andor as well. So they've not seen Rebels before. I've not seen Rebels. I've kind of made a deal with them. I will stop episode 19. You two catch up, and then we'll start watching it kind of together in preparation for Ahsoka in August.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the deal on that one. So I will resume Rebels when they catch up, basically. But now Tess has finished Mando season 3. And just loved it. I'm just like, you're right. It's great. And, I think she came over last Friday and we watched The Mandalorian. And we watched the episode where he goes and bathes in the water and sees the mythosaur.
Yeah.
And, she got lost her mind. She was like, what is that? It's huge. I was like, that is a mythosaur. I was like, that is very important to their culture. And good things. So, it's really quite interesting because she's kind of she describes herself like a mid-tier fan. And she just started Clone Wars. And we've got this weird progression now where she's kind of we've got a friend of ours, Megan, who doesn't know anything about Star Wars at all. Tess is going to show her Star Wars for the first time. The deal was I got to show Lord of the Rings for the first time. Tess gets to show her Star Wars for the first time.
This girl needs some education.
She really does, bless her. But I think she's so sweet. But that's going to happen, and I'm kind of envious of Tess because she's going to get to see someone watch the original trilogy for the first time. I'm like, I might have to be there for it. So it's kind of this weird thing's gone on now, whereas just the Tess is kind of my Padawan, and Megan is Tess's Padawan. But then she was watching Clone Wars, she's like, oh my god, you're my Obi-Wan. You're my Obi-Wan. Megan's my Ahsoka, and I was like, and Phil is my Qui-Gon. We'll be watching things, and I'm really right, that's the mythosaur. This is why the mythosaur is important. And I was like, but then there's Phil, and Phil knows more than me. So Tess is coming to me with questions, and I'm like, if I don't know, I'm asking him. And it's really funny. We've got the Qui-Gon to Ahsoka chain going on with Star Wars knowledge right now, and it's really fun. So very excited to go on with Rebels. I just think them to kind of hurry up. But
to be fair, so I should have sent you the gif of Qui-Gon when you finally watched Rebels go. It took you long enough.
I loved that, man.
Oh, I loved it as well. It's
really,
so well done.
I'm looking forward to doing the Kenobi retrospect because we've not really spoken about Kenobi at all.
No, I really want to do that one. I'm so looking forward to that.
But Book of Boba Fett will be intriguing. That's going to be very, because that historically has been my favorite Star Wars character. For years and years, and I've been a big proponent of being the Mandalorians when they're going to bring him back. Because you can't have a series about the Mandalorian and not have the Mandalorian. And it happened.
That's the thing. But this is the problem with it. It's why we're going to look back at it. Because
it was okay.
There are some beats in Boba Fett that I really enjoy. I mean, Boba Fett riding a bloody Rancor is amazing. It's yes. Although for me, they've one-upped it in the High Republic because you have a Trandoshan Jedi riding a Rancor.
Trandoshan Jedi is that's a terrifying prospect.
Yes.
I'm on a bus. Look at me because I'm riding on the bus.
Jedi Master Skier riding a Rancor with a Drengir arm is one of the most badass panels that I've ever seen. Although, to be fair, my favorite comic panel, my favorite line from Star Wars is from the comics, which is Vader, of course, with the only thing I was surrounded by is fear and dead men, and it's Vader being so cold.
That's in Jedi being I'm surrounded with his Rancors. The end. It's interesting. I read a thread the other day, which kind of goes into details of did too many Jedi survive Order 66?
I was having this discussion with Jamie the other day, and he argues the point that no, there wasn't. I always point that there was too many.
Yeah, because otherwise Yoda in Empire Strikes Back being there is another. It's like, was Luke the new hope?
Yeah, but it's more his line in Return of the Jedi. When I go, last of the Jedi you will be.
Yeah.
Like, well, no, because there's quite a few more.
I feel like
on the Force of things. So there are a lot of things around it. That's why people want to bring Mace back. I'm like, no, if you bring Mace back, then he's too powerful to be brought back because he could have beaten the Emperor. In fact, he nearly did beat the damn Emperor.
I'd like Mace to come back, but it was like a completely disenchanted. I'm not Sith. I'm not Jedi. I'm not a grey Jedi. I'm just really hacked off with a lightsaber and just hating everyone. Would be cool, but I just like Samuel L. Jackson. That's what it's driven by. It's not driven by that Mace Windu.
If they want to bring Samuel L. Jackson back to play Mace Windu in flashbacks like they had in Kenobi with the Episode 2 era Annie-Obi, I'm down with that. They want to bring him back for more of him in that period. I'm down with that. Him after that, no, I don't want to see it. I do not want that to be a thing.
I just want Samuel Jackson back. I think he's wonderful. Part of it is, and this is why I think Mandalorian is really refreshing, and Book of Boba Fett, and what Filoni and Favreau have created, is that it's not reliant on Jedi everywhere. Yes, you've got Ahsoka, and yes, you've got Luke. That's it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I cried my eyes out so much when he turned up for the season 2 finale for Mando. I did
too, man. I said this to Tess. It's an emotional roller coaster, and that you get this overwhelming feeling of joy.
Yeah,
Luke's back when that green lightsaber goes off, dude. You're like, and you get emotional joy.
The most, first of all, was literally the sound, because Luke's saber has a very, very distinctive hum. And as soon as I heard it, I mean, I knew it anyway. It was
dude, it was the single X-wing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, great, they sent one X-wing. And you're like, you don't know what's in there.
And then you have Voss' reaction. He's like, wait, they've sent one X. I know who this is. This is the one person who I fear. And, Luke then, and whenever you think about it, it hits me because Luke is my favorite character in Star Wars.
He is, 100%, man.
Seeing that come to life was amazing. And then, which is then what actually makes it even worse in Book of Boba Fett having the Mando episode, because it didn't need to be there, and it just, if it was by itself as a holiday special, despite the wording you have to use to say it would have been perfect. But in Book of, and we're going to look at that properly when we do this retrospective, but
I think so, yeah.
Luke being my favorite, as you say, historically, Boba's yours. And there's two ways they handled it, and we'll look at how they handled it. Talk about it.
Have you seen Clerks 3?
No.
There's a great scene in it where Randall has a heart attack and he gets rushed into hospital to get operated on. And the heart surgeon is being played by the woman who plays Pele.
Okay.
In Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
This is what I love about it, because she's great. I dated Jara once, the super furry. And she's operating on him. And they're trying to do this heart attack. And she's like, I need you to stay awake. Talk to me.
Yeah.
And Randall starts reciting the plot of The Mandalorian to her. And I think it's really meta, because she's obviously not playing Pele, but it's the same actress. And he's doing it. And it just goes, and then Luke Skywalker shows up. But was it young? I don't know if we can swear on this, but he's like, cool. All right. He's like, then Luke Skywalker turns up, but young fuckable Luke from Return of the Jedi, not Gran Torino, get on my lawn Luke from The Last Jedi or whatever. And I was like, my God, that's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
It's the Luke that we care about turns up, not the disenchanted one that Mark Hamill hates. Yeah, dude, and then you get overwhelmed with joy at that bit, and then when he hands Grogu over and lifts his helmet, and then I just got overwhelmingly, cripplingly sad about it.
Yep.
It's such an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Well, I think, we'll touch on Book of Boba Fett, but I feel like the episode they brought Boba back proper, which was the Robert Rodriguez Temple one in season 2,
yep.
was It's probably my favorite episode of The Mandalorian.
Yep.
Because we've finally got to see the Boba Fett in action I've wanted to see for 30 years.
Yeah.
Now I'm using my knee rockets. I'm shooting you without looking. I've got a gaffy stick. I'm going to use that too.
Yeah.
And it's like we never properly saw him in action.
No, it's like the Vader corridor scene for me. That's the Vader I always envisioned.
You know what? Such a good point, man. Yeah, it's exactly that for me. And Robert Rodriguez did it, and it was amazing. And I was like, God, I am so hyped for Book of Boba Fett. This will be incredible. And it's a shame because, there's some great guys. Fennec Shand, I think, is incredible. I think she's awesome. Ming-Na Wen, first actor to be in a Disney, a Star Wars, and the Marvel property as well.
Yeah, she's in Mulan.
She was the voice of the animated Mulan. Dude.
Yeah, and she's also in she comes back in the live action version, which is fun. If you haven't seen that, it's fantastic. Like the new live action Mulan is incredible. I absolutely loved it from start to finish.
There's no Mushu the dragon, man.
That's the original, yes. Yeah.
There's no Mushu. No Mushu, no movie.
Yeah.
But so she was the original Mulan, which is a really big deal. Yeah. And she was Agent May and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and now she's been Fennec Shand. So yeah. I don't think there's enough of a fanfare made about that achievement because I think it's huge.
Yeah.
I think it's a great achievement. So she was great. And Tamara Morrison, I think, is fantastic. And I want to see him in more as other clones.
Well, we have the rumor he's going to be in Ahsoka, and I dearly hope it's true.
Turned up in Kenobi, didn't he, as well? It was like that
First Trooper, yeah.
Which I think was great. So, yeah, if he comes back as Rex, I dig it.
He still has one of the coldest lines in Mando, which was if you're not careful, we might be the last you ever hear. That is a proper Boba Fett line.
He was he was fantastic in that. I don't know what happened with the first half of Book of Boba Fett because it suddenly uncharacterized him. And somehow when he was with the Tuskens, he looked like Deadpool, but like post Weapon X facility Deadpool, where he's like got no eyebrows. And I look at gifs of it and I'm like, oh my God, he just looks like Deadpool. This is insane.
Like a bantha.
Like a bantha. So yeah, we'll obviously deep dive it, but there's bits I really really genuinely liked about it. And I think half of it was very good.
Oh God, yeah.
Half of it was great. And that would be the second half. When Din turns up. But we'll get
onto that when we get onto it. But that's what we're looking at coming up. So obviously we're gonna wrap up show talking about Andor. So Andor's as our first proper deep dive here on the Sith and Scoundrel. And it's one of those shows that it's interesting for us to start off with because it's there's a lot of talking points, a lot of going backwards and forwards, but we've got season 2 coming up next year. And from what I saw at Celebration, I am very intrigued as to what is going to come. We didn't get to see much. We only got a very short snippet. The rest of the world hasn't seen it. And to be honest, I was so caught up in the Acolyte, I kind of forgot what I've seen, Randall, because the Acolyte was entirely what I was there for.
Right? We've got to get K2SO in season 2.
Yeah.
Because if half of it's set that close to Rogue One, we have to get K2.
Yeah, we will get K2 at some point.
So I'm looking forward to seeing Andor with K2 because he's got a sidekick to bounce off of. He's not a sidekick himself. Yeah,
because like Han with Chewie, they work better as a pair. However, I will separate that by saying that Han and Chewie also work separately.
Have you? There's a rumor I read yesterday that Alden, what's his face, is coming back for the Mandoverse film.
Yeah, for Ed's the Empire, yeah.
Which would be super interesting. And they've said that they're going to get a new actress to play Leia and not do the CGI stuff.
Yeah. Which I think is probably the better call. If they're going to do it that way, that's probably the better way to do it.
So they should get to play her.
Billy Lord?
Or Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown would work, yes.
Because there's parts in Stranger Things where Eleven looks like Leia. Or where Millie Bobby Brown looks like.
I've still not seen it, but
I've seen Stranger Things.
So when it first started airing, I watched a lot of the trailers and stuff. It just didn't grab me. Once I saw the end of season 4 with Eddie, and Master of Puppets. I'm like, okay, yeah, now I need to watch this.
Right. I've watched Rebels off of your say-so. I've watched Clone Wars off of your say. You have to watch. I'm wearing. This is a Stranger Things t-shirt, which is completely bizarre that this is turned up. Honestly, it's so rooted in D&D and 80s culture, and like the first episode is the whole thing really is rooted in the lore of D&D.
Yeah, because what I know of in season 4 is Vecna, and Vecna is again quite a big part of D&D. So
even the Demogorgons, like everything's rooted. It's a group of 4 nerdy kids who just want to play D&D and get caught up in something like completely weird. I'm
gonna watch it. It is on my to-watch list,
and it is amazing. Like David Harbour's fantastic in it. One of the 4 kids, Lucas, is rumored to be playing the live-action Miles Morales for Sony. And
that I did hear of,
perfect casting. I think you'll get a lot more from it than you think you will, because there's an episode where they're all dressed as the Ghostbusters. The Winona Ryder's in it. Sean Astin turns up. Like, it's just a complete love letter to the 80s and that kind of time.
Yeah, I am gonna give it a watch. It was, as soon as I saw that part, I'm like, okay, hang on a second. This then definitely is up my street. It was when it was very first airing. I just, from what I had seen at the time, it kind of didn't grab me. That was all it was. I just didn't. The initial trailers didn't sell it for me. But from what I've heard from talking to people, is that those first few trailers don't do the show justice.
No, they don't.
But that's what I saw. So I was basing it off of what I had seen, not what the show was, which has then been my mistake. So I need to go back and now watch it fully.
Every season's better than the last.
Yep,
I'd argue. And there's some great characters in it that you'll meet along the way. And I think it was announced at that Netflix Tadam event that the woman who played Sarah Connor in Terminator is going to be in season 5. She's going to be in season 5.
Yep, trying to remember the name on the top of my head. This has gone from me, yes.
But Arnie introduced it, but she's going to be in season 5. You're right, the Eddie stuff, he's only in season 4. But, you're watching Eddie being like, oh, God, that was me at school. He's the metalhead that runs the D&D club.
Yeah.
And he's amazing.
I have seen, though, the video now afterwards where the actor then plays Master of Puppets with Metallica.
Yeah, but have you seen the Master of Puppets bit?
Yes. Because I saw that, like, oh my God, wait, this is what this is? Oh, yeah, shit, I need to watch this.
He's excellent. Like, he's so good. And he actually learned how to play Master of Puppets for the scene, so he's actually playing it on that BC Rich Warlock. Yeah, dude, I'd really give it a go and just stick with it, because it keeps winning awards for a reason.
Well, you've done Rebels off my back. I'm going to do Stranger Things off yours. So
I love Stranger Things. Just fall in love with Hopper. David Harbour is just probably who I'm going to end up looking like in about 10 years' time, to be honest. But
I mean, I'm going to go with a full silver hair and a purple beard. That's just how it's going to be.
I'm going to end up looking like David Harbour with the receding hairline. And you end up marrying Lily Allen, so that's okay. I'd really honestly suggest Stranger Things. I think that. Do you know what? Some really good stuff has come out on Netflix in the past few years.
I recently watched their new version of All Quiet on the Western Front, which is amazing.
Right. Which is good.
Oh, it's incredible. It is so well done. It's all done in German. You can watch it in English dub. I watched it in German with subtitles, and it is incredibly well done.
I will only pay for Netflix when there's things I want to watch on it. I thought, I'm not a massive fan of the Witcher series.
That's fair. I need to finish watching Peaky Blinders and all that's on there. I've watched the first 2.5 seasons. I need to continue it. But I do enjoy that.
Squid Game completely enthralled me. I thought Squid Game was incredible.
I've not seen it.
It's very, very good. Even if you spend most of your time on your phone, you watch them do the games. They're like, the prize money is this much yen, and you're on your phone going,
what's the conversion rate? Yeah,
500,000 yen to pounds, and you see what they're doing. You're just like, it's not worth it. Because that's really fun. Squid Game I thought was great. Sweet Tooth, I loved.
Yep.
I thought Sweet Tooth was incredible, but Stranger Things, like Witcher, I felt like a bit of a mess. It didn't grab me, and now Henry Cavill's stepping down. I'm not too interested anymore.
No, but he's doing 40k, which I'm like, yes, bring it on.
And he's just wrapped in that new Guy Ritchie film, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Yeah.
It's based on a true story of World War II, actually, so I think that could be quite good.
To be fair, a film I watched on there recently, it was 2 films. I watched, no, that wasn't on there, but I did watch I can't remember what it's called now, the Alan Turing film, Imitation Game.
Imitation with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Fantastic film.
Yeah.
So I've been going through, because, yeah, you know me from all those years ago, there's a lot on my to-watch list that I never got around to.
Yeah.
And one of the good things about Friend of My Ex from last year is the fact that we started to go through that to watch this, and now I'm going actually quite dedicated to getting through that to watch this. Like, I'm still watching Stargate currently and things like that. There's bits that I have missed out on that just weren't encouraged around me. But like, no, now there is. I'm going back and catching up on a lot of stuff. So yeah, Strange Things is definitely on there. But yeah, we're looking now, because obviously the next few weeks we're going to talk about Boba Fett. We're going to talk about obviously Ahsoka coming up, Rebels to finish. There's a lot between now and Ahsoka, and I can't wait to get there. And there's only a few, literally a month and a half to go.
Have you watched Vision Season 2 yet?
Have I got what, sorry?
Vision Season 2.
No, I haven't. I still need to watch that. But I need to finish up the Young Jedi Adventures first. But
yeah,
I'll get to it when I get to it. But I am going to watch it because the Yardman one, my mate's in it. So I need to watch it for that reason alone.
So fun.
He plays the Dideronian Diddy.
Huh?
My mate plays the Dideronian Diddy.
Oh, right. I'm saying that. The first episode is... Now I've seen Rebels. It's kind of very Sabine-esque. It's about a painter in that universe.
Okay, yeah.
And knowing how much you like Rebels and stuff, you probably get lots of that first. I thought it was just visually stunning, but I haven't seen Rebels yet. But now I have seen it.
Yeah.
I'll go back to it. I'm like, oh, that is very Sabine-esque. But it's very cool. I enjoy Visions. But yeah, we'll start a retrospect on Boba Fett, and then when I resume with Rebels, we'll start dipping in and out of that again. And then I'm quite looking forward to going back over Kenobi as well, I think.
Oh, too right. That one I'm very much looking forward to getting to. And then, Ahsoka very, very soon. But indeed, thank you, of course, everyone, for watching as per usual. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, not Instagram yet, but on Twitter at the Sith And Scoundrel Podcast. We will be back next week. And until next time, have a good one.
We will. Bye.